From intergalactic Boy Scouts to web-slinging wall crawlers,
brooding billionaires and blonde-haired battle masters, one need look no further than the year's biggest blockbusters to see that superheroes have always returned to being a cultural.
My name is DeMarcus Reel.
And I'm Ellie Abel, and today on OddlyLogical, we answer the question, in the world of the supers, who leads from the front?
And who's just happy they got invited?
It seems like nowadays, anyone with yoga pants, a bed sheet, and the ability to get blasted in the face is considered a superhero.
Well, by that logic, the Kardashians are pretty much the Justice League.
Which is totally fair, because the number one person in the Justice League is, of course, Clark Kent, aka Superman, with the perfect hair, the perfect bod, and those tight tights.
Not to mention the world's worst disguise. I mean, as soon, well...
No, I mean, did you see that picture of Zooey Deschanel with bangs? I didn't even recognize her.
Had no idea.
Feasibly, without the glasses, Clark Kent would now be Superman.
So in that sense, we could argue that DC Comics was actually light years ahead in understanding that American society is totally
vapid and petty and
to
shallow, and
what people
unable
look like.
to say that all white people are the same.
That's fair.
Okay, so we'll start with what the definition of a superhero is. The Webster's Dictionary defines a superhero as anybody that has any supernatural abilities, like being able to fly. I think is the example it actually gives. And the first term superhero was originally used way back in the 1970s. That definition's kind of been standing for a long time.
I think that we're probably overdue for a new definition, courtesy of OddlyLogical.
So, my definition of a superhero is, okay, first of all, a superhero, Superman, not a superhero. Sorry, you are an alien.
Absolutely.
You are an alien. In the world of Earth, yes, fine, you're a god, but superhero, no. My definition of superhero is somebody that's already a person, already human, already out in the world, that has some sort of awful thing happen to them, and now, well, not necessarily awful, like Spider-Man got bit. He got bit. So, Spider-Man, superhero.
So, you know, looking at Spider-Man, I think you can definitely compare and contrast them in that, depending on which medium you're watching, Superman isn't a superhero. Is he super? Absolutely. Is he extraordinary? Beyond so.
He's a freak.
I mean, he's arguably the most powerful entity in the DC universe. However, Spider-Man, despite being comparatively weaker than Superman, actually has a transitory period where he goes from being normal Peter Parker to being a chemically enhanced or radiation-altered entity. And I think that that's really the defining mark
yes,
between the two.
Something has to happen. I mean, Flash was the same way. He got zapped, and now he's super fast. Okay, cool, you're a superhero. Now let's move on to somebody that I think most people are more familiar with. Thor.
Alright. So Thor is considered a god in the Marvel Universe, but he's actually not a god. He's actually an interdimensional entity from the plane of Asgard. So because he's from Asgard, he's actually considered to be more battle savvy than his peers, but he doesn't actually have any powers. His powers come from
Mjolnir,
which is his, for those of you who don't know, is his magical hammer. You can see it in episodes where he flies, where he can throw it and it'll come back to his hand. Things like that are examples of the ability to project power, but not power inherently. In fact, one could argue that once it leaves his hand, he is, for all intents and purposes, a mortal again until it comes back.
but only in the respect of Asgardians, because he would live longer without Mjolnir than anybody on Earth.
So then, I mean, in that...
It's relatively mortal compared to having Mjolnir.
Right. Which I think is probably important, is that a defining characteristic for a superhero would be that they have to be exceptionally super on their planet of origin. Because by that sense, Superman would be a superhero in terms of being more powerful than ordinary people on Earth, but not on Krypton.
And I think Thor is exceptional in Asgard because he is up in the ranks, because he is a warrior.
Right.
But I don't know if that necessarily puts him a leg over everybody on Asgard.
Well, I completely agree. I mean, we don't have any definitive evidence that Thor is inherently more powerful than anybody else, just that he is considered to be one of the better fighters.
Which we have that on Earth, so that would be like saying a cop is a superhero compared to you.
I mean, do they have the ability to overpower me? Absolutely. Do they have the ability to project authority?
Yes,
that I don't? Absolutely. But, well, kicking my ass isn't the defining mark of a superhero. I mean, in that case,
everybody is a superhero.
And
just whether or not you can kick DeMarcus's ass.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
That's
the new definition.
That's the new definition.
Is if you can kick my ass in your superhero. I think that another caveat is that we would have to say that you have to be able to maintain your abilities despite not having resources. So he's definitely heroic. He's definitely heroic, but he's not a superhero. On the subject of superheroes is the two biggest parallels in superhero history right now, which is Bruce Wayne, the Batman, and Tony Stark, Iron Man,
who are basically one and the same, except Bruce Wayne, let's be honest, he's much more sad.
And because DC and Marvel don't like to share.
Well, you can't have everything. I would like to see them fight. Never gonna happen.
It would be phenomenal.
It would be
They would just do it in court. And they would just sue each other.
They would just sue each other
back and forth
to see who gets the controlling share of Stark Industries or
Wayne Enterprises.
Bruce Wayne, nothing exceptional happened to him except that he climbed a mountain and got a flower, which, let's be honest, I can do that from here.
Absolutely.
He's just got a lot of money.
He does. He really
money
does.
buys everything.
He does.
And Tony Stark is the same way, but I think Tony Stark, I would put Tony Stark above Batman.
Honestly, I disagree.
All right, explain.
So I don't want to go into a lot of detail because we're going to be covering it in another episode, hopefully in the next couple of days. So we'll have to see about that. But we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of revealing your secret identity.
Right. Which makes sense because as everybody knows, Marvel Studios, in their infinite wisdom, is getting ready for the big release of Civil War. We've seen some kind of snippets from it. I think there's like a teaser trailer out. That's going to be released hopefully next summer in 2016. We're all very excited.
Everyone's excited.
Everybody's excited. Tumblr skipped right over Age of Ultron and went right into Civil War. So that's basically, if you guys haven't read the comics, they are making it into a movie. That's basically going to cover everything you need to know about what the actual ramifications are of revealing your secret identity to the world. Both for you personally and because by revealing your secret identity, you're basically just taking the liberty of revealing everybody else's secret identity as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because now you're talking about, now people are analyzing who do you interact with. Your family and is now in jeopardy because now they're having a lot of unwanted attention. Really, I would argue that once you develop a secret identity, it's really not even your own anymore. It's really no longer your luxury to divulge. However, for now, I will say that despite that, I believe the worst thing a superhero can do is to not reveal their secret identity.
Well, and we've seen successes of people that are successful at revealing their secret identities. I think the most poignant one being Captain America, who did reveal their secret identity. He did, come out. Whether he did it intentionally or not, everybody knew who Captain America was. He, took the initiative in his own hands and he did all of that. I mean, in that sense, Captain America, for superhero, first of all, I would say that he is a superhero, but he did prove to be very successful at revealing his secret identity. He had a museum exhibition, everybody knew his name, and he didn't really seem to have any negative ramifications of that we can see.
Captain America, he really is the quintessential average individual. Not really very, not physically impressive, not mentally impressive. Just a whole lot of determination and drive. He really aspired to serve his country. He goes out to go fight, kill the Nazis because who doesn't like killing Nazis?
Exactly.
You can't get more wholesome. And all natural than the Captain America experience. But on top of that, he really experiences a lot of the struggles that I would think would be realistic for a superhero. He's not overly popular when he comes out as being the strongest.
Because he's doing stupid shows on stage and he's singing show tunes.
Right.
He's not impressive to the battle-hardened people that he's trying to deliver to because they've all been in the shit, they've been in the trenches, they've been fighting the Nazis for years. So he really does bring it upon himself to really become what Captain America is to the rest of the world by the time he is unfrozen and 70 years has gone by. So by then he really is an icon. They call him the greatest soldier in the world ever.
Which is clearly a contradiction because he was a captain for 75 years.
That dude never got promoted.
But
Major America doesn't ring the same.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
So he is very much so, I think, a superhero. He got injected with some blue stuff because the Stark Industries and not Tony Stark. What's his name?
Johann Stark. His
Again, I don't think that's his name. Well, it's actually his father.
Tyrese Stark.
Tyrese Stark. So they meddle in it. He gets injected with some blue shit. And he goes from being 4 foot nothing to like a 6 foot
sexy man guy.
An all-American Chris Evans ab-ripped.
Abs are really the defining characteristic of a superhero. So much so that I'm even going to put it on the list. So,
you have to
boom,
have abs.
You have to have abs.
We will add that in, and I really would just watch an entire movie of
just abs. Just
yes.
abs
yes.
running across the screen.
Which could really be its own episode, so we're not going to divulge into that too terribly much. But getting back to it though, Captain America is, think about it, really, he does fit all the criteria. He doesn't have a lot of money. He doesn't have to buy his way in.
With that in mind,
do you want to go, let's go ahead and cover what makes a superhero super.
Absolutely.
I feel like we've kind of established a list of things that go into that, so they would have to what?
Definitely going to have to undergo a transition period where the individual stops being a normal person and gains the abilities that allow them to be a superhero.
I would agree. They also have to exceed the normal limitations of their homeworld. Just because I, can, bodybuild and slam down protein and then go to Tokyo and bench press a Prius, doesn't mean that I'm a superhero. I am just strong in the realm of Earth. I could not go to Krypton and be
bench pressing
Kryptonian
Prius.
I probably could bench press a Kryptonian Prius, as phenomenal as they are on gas mileage.
Absolutely. Not having a planet means that you get wonderful gas mileage. There's not a whole lot of
phenomenal gas mileage. But what else? What else do we need to cover?
Well, so they definitely, I think that we really have to take money out of the equation.
Yes.
Money doesn't mean super. Just because you have the ability to buy finance your way into the Justice League or into the Avengers or into the Fantastic Four, you're not really a superhero. You can put yourself in the same niche as those. You can definitely.
But you're
run
really
with
just
them.
a vigilante.
You really are. You're not a superhero, and you're only moderately accountable to the people, which I think is another really huge aspect. And then of course, the number one rule here on OddlyLogical to be a superhero is abs. You have to have lots and lots of abs.
It better be laundry day when I get up.
In fact, we like abs so much that we're going to give you this wonderful clip of Arrow doing
that little pull-up
ab thing.
So we didn't talk about the Green Arrow, but that is just so beautiful.
Look at that. Just
oh my
beautiful.
God. Oh.
I can't do that.
Anyway, we're getting off topic. We've talked about Superman, Spider-Man, Thor, Batman, Iron Man, Captain America. So now let's go ahead and put them to the test. We'll start with Superman. Hero or superhero?
I'm sorry. I cannot let the Man of Steel have this one. He's just a hero.
He's just an alien.
Don't get me wrong. He is by far one of the most powerful individuals in the DC universe.
Disagree except maybe Aquaman. But.
Well, Aquaman specializes in disagreeing
with Superman.
but he's just really First, he does meet the initial criteria of having a transition period because as he passes through space, he crosses into the field of our yellow sun, and then he gains his powers. However, he doesn't meet the second criteria, which means that he has to be supernatural comparative to the people on his home planet. So with that said, definitely not a superhero.
Just a regular hero.
Spider-Man.
Superhero. I'm not going superhero because Peter Parker, when you meet Peter Parker in the comics or in the movies, even the Amazing Spider-Man, Peter Parker is very much so just an average person. He gets bullied a lot. He's kind of downtrodden, and then he meets tragedy when his Uncle Ben dies, and then he gets bit by the radioactive spider. Because not only does that give him a physical transition period, it also gives him an emotional transition period where he decides to take it upon himself to go and hunt down the person that did it. And as a result of that, ends up taking on all sorts of other things in the greater Manhattan area. So I would definitely say that Spider-Man is a superhero.
All right, so we give it. So there you have it. You have our first superhero.
So let's talk about Thor.
So Thor. Don't get me wrong, I love our Asgardian friends.
Of course.
I really love Natalie Portman.
Abs.
Lots of abs, lots of Natalie's, and lots of that one really cute girl that stands beside her that nobody can remember her name.
Darcy.
So, So unfortunately, this is not one of those times that I can give you a freebie. You're not a superhero. We can see in lots of different mediums that many different people, heroes and villains alike, have actually been able to pick up your hammer and wield your powers of lightning and flight and things like that.
Magneto, the Hulk,
the Flash.
So anybody can be worthy of picking up Mjolnir, which really, as long as he doesn't lose it, that could just be as I wouldn't tell anybody that.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't tell anybody
that. It's really a huge weakness if your powers are entirely dependent on holding onto this hammer, which, I mean, is honestly no different than Batman and his utility belt or Iron Man and his suit. You know, which actually is a wonderful transition into our next two, Batman and Iron Man, hero or superhero?
Hero. I'm gonna have to go with hero because they do go through, again, they go through a emotional transition, kind of like Spider-Man. They do find a cause that allows them to go and fight crime and have that mentality of, I have to change the world because it sucks. Tony Stark decides, I don't want to make weapons anymore because it's just falling into the wrong hands. Batman, his parents get killed once again, very sad. But really, he goes and finds a flower and, you know, trips some acid with the League of Assassins. And he comes back to Gotham and decides that he is worthy of fighting crime. So really,
who doesn't when you trip acid, though? I mean,
that makes you want to take on the world. So, but really, you are more of a vigilante than a superhero because if you take away the suit and you take away the money, you're just a dude that knows how to do karate.
I'm a dude who knows how to do karate.
You don't know how to do karate.
I don't.
But no, so I'm gonna have to say, sorry Batman, sorry Iron Man, you are just regular heroes. So Captain America, we kind of already hit on this a little bit. But
yeah, I mean, I think we really don't need to go into too much additional detail. Honestly, hands down, superhero. So going through our criteria, I mean, obviously he meets all of them.
Abs.
Yes, definitely abs.
Chris Evans, good job. Abs.
Always abs. You know what? In fact, here's another reward. Here's a cutaway of more abs. So, going back to the rest of our definitions, so he definitely fits number one.
He does have a transition.
You know, he does. He receives the injection from
those
Stark
meddling
Industries,
Starks.
and then next thing you know, boom, he is
6 foot tall, blonde American god. He doesn't have to buy his way in because I'm pretty sure he doesn't pay for the vibranium shield, and he doesn't actually put any money into them stabbing him with the blue shit.
And he, you know, he really is exceptional by all standards. You know, even if you were to take him off of Earth, take him off of Earth, and you put him on Krypton, you know, he would be able to theoretically go toe-to-toe with Kryptonians because he is inherently exceptional. The shield is really not even a fundamental aspect of Captain America.
The shield does not change his ability to do what he does.
It does.
But I really wouldn't go against Superman without a shield.
I don't think anyone should go against Superman.
So, yeah, I think it would be a different fight if he didn't have the shield, but we see him time and time again being able to do what he does and beat the shit out of people without the shield.
Which is this definition of heroism.
If I take away all of your toys, you are still able to
beat the shit out of people.
Correct.
So that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to tell us what you think in the comments section below.
Also, be sure to check us out at the Digital Cool Kids table on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'll go ahead and leave links in the description below for you guys.
We've got another exciting video planned later this week, so keep your eyes peeled for that.
And until next time, Oddballs, remember, it doesn't have to be right, it just has to make sense. Until next time, stay cool.